بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. معالي المعالي والسعادة مشاهدينا الكرام، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يسعدني أن أرحب بكم اليوم للإعلان عن حدث هام بالتأكيد، وهو بدء تفعيل أسلوب التعاقد على توطين الصناعة ونقل المعرفة تحت شعار جميل هو نوطن لنصنع. كأحد الأساليب الحديثة للشراء والتعاقد الحكومي والصادر من نظام المنافسات والمشتريات الحكومية الجديد، نلتقي معكم اليوم لنناقش أهمية، وكذلك سنتحدث عن أثر الإيجابي على تنويع مصادر الاقتصاد الوطني وآلية تفعيله، وبمشاركة شركائنا من الجهات الحكومية الإنفاق والمشروعات الحكومية. خلال هذا اللقاء وأهميته الجهات من القطاعين العام والخاص، وكذلك نخبة من الإعلاميين الذين سيكون لهم دور فعال في إيصال رسالة هذا الأسلوب وتفعيله. بداية نفتتح جلستنا بهذا الفيديو التعريفي عن هذا الأسلوب.
To start our session identifying this topic.
وطن طموح تقوده لأسلوب تعاقدي مستحدث يهدف إلى خلق صناعات وقطاعات
In order to create new industries and technologies that are promising for our nation, that will contribute to the growth and development of our local content and the achievement of self-sufficiency. We localize to industrialize. We localize to the CEO of the Local Content and Government Procurement Authority, Mr. Bandar bin Ibrahim Al Khraif, to announce the utilization and the activation of this new method and its importance. Dear colleagues, success partners, dear audience, I'm pleased to be here with you today in this virtual meeting to announce the activation of the contracting on the localization of industry and the transfer of knowledge as one of the strategic projects that we are committed to transfer into reality with the leadership
حيث يمثل أسلوب محلية. هذا الأسلوب ويعزز قاعدتنا الإنتاجية غير النفطية كأحد مستهدفات 2030. مع صدور نظام المنافسات والمشتريات الحكومية الجديد، أقر النظام توطين الصناعات ونقل المعرفة كأسلوب للشراء الحكومي، وهو أسلوب مبتكر وتديره وتشرف على تفعيله هيئة المحتوى المحلي. والبدء بتفعيل هذا الأسلوب يمثل نقلة نوعية في تنمية المحتوى المحلي وتعظيمه. فعلى صعيد المحتوى المحلي سيساهم في تنمية المحتوى المحلي من خلال الأثر المترتب لإنشاء العديد من القدرات التصنيعية داخل المملكة والتكنولوجيا المشتريات الحكومية. سيساهم في تلبية الطلب الحكومي للجهات المستفيدة وفي وقت أسرع وبكميات وتكلفة أقل على المدى المتوسط، كما سيساهم في توحيد وترشيد الإنفاق الحكومي عبر توفير منتجات وطنية مستدامة وذات كفاءة عالية. وعلى صعيد آخر وفي المجال الاقتصادي تحديداً، سيسهى استثمارية المعرفة كأداة مهمة لضمان نجاح المشروع المملكة الاستراتيجي، لتكون قاعدة للصناعة ورائدة فيها، ولتنطلق منها إلى دول العالم. المملكة موقعها الجغرافي في قلب العالمين العربي والإسلامي ومحور لوجستي مميز يربط بين القارات الثلاث آسيا وأوروبا وأفريقيا، ما يجعلها بلداً استثنائياً ووجهة استثمارية مفضلة. لذلك نحن نطمح من خلال تفعيل هذه الأساليب في المشتريات المحلية، ونحن نعمل مع زملائنا في هذه الأداة وغيرها مع الزملاء في هيئة المحتوى المحلي لتطوير مثل هذه المنتجات والظهور بها بالشكل الذي يليق ويسمح بالاستفادة منها بالطريقة التي تعظم الهدف المرجو منها. كما لا يفوتني أن نتقدم بالشكر لجميع شركائنا في هذا المشوار ورسالتنا إلى
Thank you, Your Excellency, for this fruitful speech, concluding it with the role of the media in communicating the message. I totally agree with Your Excellency. Maybe we didn't do all of our roles in communicating the message of the whole modernization that we are witnessing in our country. So I will announce our initiative that we will dedicate a whole episode about the local content and this initiative and how to support it to create new opportunities for the young men and women of our nation, creating new opportunities for our nation, telling the people and the children of our nation that this new law will create about the new law and procurement authority, as well as His Excellency Engineer Abdulrazak bin Subhi Al Aujan, the CEO of the Government Expenditure and Projects Efficiency Authority. There are a lot of inquiries about this law and how to communicate them to our society in a way that will indicate the quantum leap that was achieved in this law. Starting with the Local Content and Government Procurement Authority, this big title of the concept of localization of industry and local content and transfer of knowledge. Thank you, Mr. Khalid. In the beginning, I'd like to welcome all of their excellencies and all of our audience in this virtual meeting. In the beginning, the localization of industry and the transfer of knowledge is a new contracting approach that was mentioned in the 35th article of the law and 38th article of the executive regulation. The previous method of procurement lasted a number of years. This mechanism that was missing was a challenge for the private sector to take the risk and invest in the localization of specific projects, products and services in order to maximize the governmental procurements. This method came to fill in this gap and to provide the mechanism that will guarantee the commitment of governmental entities to buy specific products with specific specifications and specific price for a number of years. This contract is a big motivation for investors to come and invest in the localization of these industries inside our nation. Integration and linking is the Engineer Abdulrazak as a new approach within the law of procurement and competitiveness. How are you going to be here? And I'd like to thank all the audience for being with with us. In the beginning, I would like to start in order to make Saudi Arabia very on top of all aspects, and one of them was to develop the government procurement and local content law in order to achieve our goals. Many governmental entities like the Ministry of Finance, the local content and government procurement, a new number of methods. One of them is be summed up in two main points. First is coordination between the two authorities to prepare the feasibility studies and to make sure and to guarantee the impact that is desired from the efforts of localization of industry and services with the lowest cost possible, and also protecting the rights of the investors. What is the maximization of government procurement and expenditure to maximize the impact against the expenditure in line with our strategic priorities? What are procurement and expenditure in this in order to be a localized industry and to have self-sustaining transfer of knowledge that will contribute to creating new investment opportunities, new job opportunities, creating new products for the public sector, contributing to the reduction of imports and the increasing the purchase power of the kingdom in order to enhance our economic efficiency against expenditure. If we want to simplify, to make it simple for the people, how will that approach create new opportunities for the young men and women of our nation, and how will it contribute to the national economy? Allow me to speak about the topic into that the 2030 vision of the kingdom is very important to develop our local economy and to achieve self-efficiency. So these approaches will be a new enabler to create new local industries and to enhance the local supply chains, transferring them to be inside the kingdom and to increase the local expenditure. This will lead to many economic impacts like creating new job opportunities for the citizens, enhancing our commercial weight, and also how will that be achieved? The law identified, if we can say, the broader lines of this approach that will start with identification of the approach of the opportunity. Of course, not all products will be applicable, but we need to identify the opportunity, whether by the authority, the local content and government procurement authority, or by other agencies as a suggestion from them. After we do that, we will have the opportunity for example, any given product, for example, a medical or a pharmaceutical product that is used by the governmental entities on a regular basis. If we have the opportunity to localize it, we will start preparing a feasibility study. Will we be able to create a competitive industry for that product? Do we have the necessary and required cadres and competitiveness on the regional level? These feasibility studies will have a lot of elements, and when we realize the result that this is a good product that needs to be localized in a given contractual way that will guarantee the procurement for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years according to the nature of the investment opportunity, coordinated with our colleagues in the Government Expenditure and Projects Efficiency Authority and other agencies. After these studies, there is no doubt that in the same context, we will contact the governmental entities that will buy this product to make sure that they will be in line with us on the same page, and they will be committed for a number of years to buy this product for a number of years. And after this picture is complete, we will now have the full opportunity for the private sector. So we will start putting it to the private sector to compete, whether national or foreign investors. Where will you put them? According to the system, whether on I'timad or on other platform, according to the procedures in the government procurements. Investors will compete, providing their offers and quotes, and they will start competing, and based on a number of criteria, on our criterion, we will choose the winning investor. And also we will work on the commitment guarantee agreement. The governmental entities will make sure that they are with us on the same page. They will buy a specific number of this product for a specific number of years with full transparency and clarity for the governmental entities, including commitment and coordination with our colleagues. How will you guarantee the commitment of the entity? There will be a follow-up. Of course, the law is beautiful and it's motivational, but how will we guarantee that the governmental entities will adopt this law and utilize it? This is one of the feasibility studies product for a number of years. This will be documented, and after the private sector wins the project, they will start investing in the economic base and the industrialization base. Our role will continue to provide them in three main aspects. First, following up with the investor that they are working and there is real progress on the ground, and after 2 or 3 years they will be ready to supply the governmental needs. Also, the start of the project, we work with the governmental entities to make sure that everything is utilized and they are demanding what they committed themselves to demand. The last step is to monitor the performance of the governmental entities to make sure that they are meeting all of the requirements that we identified in the beginning of the study. So it is a comprehensive process, since starting from the opportunity identification, ending with the impact achievement. So we will work on all of the levels to make sure that the impact will be achieved as desired. Another question, all of the products that will be localized industrially, maybe they are of high value. For example, speaking about the short term, how will you deal with the increased costs? Will that impact the achievement of consistency between impact against expenditure? So the impact of this study and the take time for the local run, the economic impact, the developmental impact is much on project efficiency. We will be supporting the mission of the feasibility study that we have the data that risks, and this will help us achieve two things: localization of knowledge and industry, transfer of knowledge, and balance between cost and expenditure. Thank you very much. I like the slogan, but the question is, will you focus on the industrial side in this law? The focus will be on the products that are in everything. Pharmaceutical manufacturing, it serves the health sector, but the industrial sector as well. Water desalination products and machines as well. So we're talking about manufacturing process. Of course, the industrial sector is the core of it, but this sector serves all other sectors of the kingdom. So the benefit will not only be for the industrial sector, but for the whole sector: water desalination, health sectors, and many other sectors. So it will be serving all different sectors, not only for the industrial one. Also, this approach will transfer industry and knowledge. Sometimes the industrial base is available, but we are still in need for knowledge. For example, we have a patent or a restricted approach used in a foreign company that we need to have a privilege to take them and to transfer them to our local content. So we should have a tool to buy these privileges for a number of years in order to transfer this knowledge inside the kingdom. So, for example, like what happened in the military industries contents, that there should be a specific percentage of localization. Will it be the same? It is an integrated work. Of course, the local content tools are diverse, and the approach of contracting by transferring localization of the content is known. There is also the obligatory list is available, and all the current industrial base that are able to provide the needs of the governmental entities can provide of that. Also, the weight of the local content in the government projects. So this is an integrated process to complement each other. An inquiry for long years, private sector depended totally on the government capital expenditure. So such approach, will it indicate that the concept is changing? Will it push the sector, the private sector, without being the public sector, without being providing, but also they will be participating with the public sector, procurement authority, the Minister of Finance, platform and the data, the new technologies, localization of content and industry plan, transfer of knowledge is now more focused. So I don't think it's reliability, but it's integrity and complementation between each other in order to serve achieve the targets of 2030 vision. Also, I'd like to add that while making our visibility studies, we look at the marketing projects. Will we be able to create a local Saudi product that is capable of meeting the needs of the government and also can be exported to the region and to the whole world? So we are not providing sustenance for the private sector. We are providing rather a motivation for them to compete internally then externally. The governmental needs will be helping for a specific amount of time, but sustainability requires that we should compete globally to create a local industry that can compete regionally and internationally to position the Saudi product on top of the list in the whole world. The new law, we have transparency, we have I'timad platform. So what is the impact of this new law in enhancing fairness, transparency, and what are the elements, mechanisms, and the level of transparency in this level? I think that, and Abu Yazan may add to this, that there are many indicators that measure transparency for the government in terms of the budget and in terms of the operational aspects. Things are progressing in Saudi Arabia, and I'timad platform and the government competitiveness new law aim to create competitiveness and transparency for the private sector. The new law and the executive regulation aim at considering all of the standards to unify these standards for measuring the competitors in a specific, standardized way for the conditions and the contracts and the specifications. There were a lot of problems in some of the things provided by the governmental entities. Did you work on them to develop them? We worked with our colleagues to standardize and unify the models according to the needs of the government, taking in consideration the differences between an advisory project, a supplying project, maintenance and cleaning projects. So the models took in consideration the differences between these projects, creating new unified standardized models for the whole supply chain. When investors deal with different entities, they will not find that much difference. Thank you very much, Abu Abdullah. I think expenditure and project efficiency authority is to uplift for the procurement or expenditure models, private sector, so that standards are clearer, methods of measurement and weighing between suppliers are unified. We started the journey, and in the recent years, we could adopt and approve some of these models, and we are going to cover all of the different models. As for the localization of the industry, the role of our authorities is to prepare the statements and to prepare the contracts in order for everything to be clear for the private sector. The third point is that this procurement system started this transparency system like I'timad platform. When there is a winning process, there is a period of time that allows parties to object. All the standards are clear. How did we choose the best to win this procurement? And this helped enhance transparency, cost, quality, and efficiency. Thank you very much. I enjoy the meeting a lot. Is there time to open the floor for questions? Go ahead, Your Excellency. I would like to ask you, Your Excellency, and I think you will answer what I was going to ask. I'd like to congratulate you for enriching our discussion with your questions. I have 2 points to mention. First of all, the industry, I do believe, and I have the right to believe, that the kingdom is not excused to be but an industrial country. I think any factory needs a minimum amount of production to cover its costs. And after that, they can start making profits and returns on their investments. This initiative, one of its aims is to help factories in the foundation process to cover this minimum. For example, if I am an owner of a factory and I know the minimum that can get me cover my costs, and after that start making profits, for example, 100,000 units of the product. If this initiative can provide me with 50,000, this means that the other 50,000 can be marketed easily inside the market, and also it can, after a while, they can start exporting. So as Abdurrahman has mentioned, the idea is to help investors be attracted to the opportunity. And as far as I know, the initiative will also help the holders of the idea and the manufacturers to provide the authority with the idea, whether a new technology or something like that, and they will help them work on it. Also, if there are any concerns regarding the balance between the efficiency of expenditure and helping industry grow, and I'm going to provide you with a real example about His Excellency Mr. Abdurrahman Al-Fadli, the Minister of Environment, Agriculture and Water. When we started signing a memorandum of understanding between the ministry represented by the National Water Company and the Local Content and Government Procurement Authority, I said to His Excellency, thank you for your national sense. He said, of course, they were not obliged to do that by that time, but he answered saying that, Bandar, it's not only about a national sense. This signing will make sure that the sustainability of this agency will be available and the sustainability of the technologies available for the continuation of the water desalination sector and water sector in general. This kind of thinking makes us believe that what we are doing today is not only in any form, is not only for creating industry, but also it is for creating an industrial sector that is sustainable and on the long run will help us achieve self-sufficiency with high quality, and also will develop the products provided and the services provided, whether in desalination or in pharmaceutical products. NEPCO, for example, is one of our main partners, and the pharmaceutical sector are now in the pharmaceutical sector, we are working effectively in order to have local products for the respiratory systems, manufactured respiratory system, artificial respiratory systems. So this will play an important role in pushing industry forward. Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Excellency. Do you have any comments before we end the session? I think we're running out of time. The last intervention, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we're running out of time. Thank you very much. Previously, when we used to say a joint committee or a joint project, we used to say, may Allah help you. But today, and the reality is our witness and the achievements can tell with the 2030 vision of the kingdom, things have changed drastically with this ambitious vision. And I think that the pandemic was the best witness on how our governmental entities can provide a unified national strategy. This is something that we are proud of, and I think our colleagues in the national and the local content and government procurement authority in cooperation with the Government Expenditure and Projects Efficiency Authority. I'd like to thank Mr. Abdurrahman Ismari and Engineer Abdrazak Al-Wajan. I'd like Your Excellency the Minister for being with us, motivating us with this initiative that will create new industrial national opportunities, promising for our future to localize industry, to transfer knowledge. And we don't have an excuse. We need to be on top of the industrial countries all over the world. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, this is a mask that was manufactured in Saudi Arabia. Thank you very much.